Hello, I'm Tony, and in this video I'll try to show all the major informations about notarization on the blockchain. Cryptocurrencies aren't worth much in recent days, so let's focus on technology. I will try to explain it in the way that even non-technical person would understand, but I will also plug in few more details. Of course, we can start speaking about more advanced ideas without the historical background and some basis behind the technology. Why is there a need for blockchain notarization? In current technology, top blockchain networks are viewed as decentralized and trustless data centers. All data pushed to the valid longest chain will always be embedded in them. Look at John. He knows something of much importance. He found a way to make gold out of sand in a cheap way. He wants to patent it, but John lives in a poor, oppressive country where giant corporations are lobbying with the government. He is fucked. But if he has access to Bitcoin network, he can notarize his idea. Wait Tony, aren't transactions on Bitcoin expensive, and the more inputs you are putting on it, the more it costs? Sure, Bitcoin network currently has around 2000 gigabytes of data in it. What if John's files are as big as 1 terabyte? That's why we aren't speaking about storing data on the blockchain, but notarizing them on the blockchain. There are some exceptions. In March 2017, Bitcoin user published illegal in China picture of Tiananmen Square tankmen. It was series of transactions with string of data that concatenated. It represented a picture. The funny part about this is that there was a talk on Bitcoin Reddit beforehand about tainting Bitcoin blockchain with data illegal in China to lower the amount of Bitcoin miners from China itself. I guess it didn't work out as it should, but it was great trolling action. But going back to notarization, underlying technology behind it is called hashing. Hashing functions are taking the input in form of bytecode and translating it into constant length string, usually hexadecimal. Let's start from a specific case. We have a function called SHA-256, which currently is one of the most popular hashing functions. It has the part 256 in it, which means it's 256 bits, and it is always 64 hexadecimal digits long, as hexadecimal digits have 4 bits, starting from 000, which represents 0, to 111, which represents 15/letter F in hexadecimal. So we have this magical function, and its main goal is to produce 64 characters hexadecimal string out of some inputs. Let's add more. 64 digit output should always be different for different inputs. In total, we have 16 amount of different states of hexadecimal number to the power of 64 number of those hexadecimal numbers in the output, which is similar number to supposed total amount of atoms in the universe. Let's assume we have to prove a hash of sentence that is correct answer in the quiz. We have infinite amount of words combination, and exactly one sentence is the right answer. Hashing function would be ineffective if hash of 2 different sentences would provide the same 64 characters output. This is where we need our hashing function SHA-256 to be resistant for hash collision attack. And the last property of the function, you can't decode the 64 character output into input. The only way of knowing what the hash means is to take some suggested input and hashing it. To conclude, if I would have notarized 200 gigabyte folder with videos or 1 letter, the output would have the same amount of characters, 64, and without publishing input, no one would guess what was hashed. Okay, hashing function explained, hopefully. That was the hardest part of the video. If you made it through, now it's the interesting stuff. So I will be presenting few ways of notarizing one file on different blockchains, starting from Bitcoin blockchain. So let's look at the picture. Now, the code I will use to hash it is in Python. I'm opening the file and using Python hashing library, my program will calculate the output. I will run it and we will have a winner. Yes, this output is 64 characters, hexadecimal long. Just memorize it whole, cause we will need it later. No, joking, sorry. Memorize the first two letters, the CB letters, and maybe first two numbers 32, if needed. Let's make our first notarization, of course, using Bitcoin. We will use specific OP code, that means the stack type method that's callable from the Bitcoin core. This function was used as a prototype from around 2013 with different value possible from 80 bytes, then reduced to 40 bytes, and finally in 2015 it was formalized as 80 bytes input. That means you can fit in those 64 characters from hash and additional 16 characters as well. Great, let's do it. I will use the specific website to do so. In my example, I will use the website version because running a Bitcoin node and executing it from console would be too complicated for this video, I think. I will start from stampd.com. After dropping the file into the box and waiting some time, we can see the hash. What's important here is that hashing in most of those legit website-based notarization tools is on the side of local machine, that means my computer. There are some nifty functions that allow for doing it without the need of uploading your precious document to somebody else's server. But look at the hash. It starts from 53, not a CB. Some of my haters are already in the comment section writing that I am a liar, but let's look closer. There is CB following around 16 characters. Do you got it already? Those 16 characters are optional, and in stampd, if translated from a hexadecimal to ASCII, that means like readable characters, they mean stampd hash hash. And the rest of the 80 byte input is our document hash. Beautiful. I won't do another steps, they are trivial, so let's go into pox.io. That's the best website in my opinion, but when recording this video they had some technical difficulties. Same story, CB hash is starting from 17th bit. First 16 when looking into documentation means doc proof when translating from hexadecimal to ASCII. You can basically do the same things on other blockchains like Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dash. And we will do it again, this time on stamp.io, which is a service based on Ethereum. I'm on stamp.io website right now. I see the history. I already tested this website back in the day. I will notarize my HUD file by dragging it to the field. After a few seconds, I can see the pop-up saying that this file is being notarized. As far as I remember, this tool is notarizing files for free on 3 blockchains: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ethereum Classic. All those transactions have extremely small relative fees, so the company operating the system won't have big cost of operating it based on the sending fees. And giving the product for free, they are bringing more customers to their tool. But going back to transaction, after a few hours it is notarized on Ethereum and Ethereum Classic with fees of around 2 cents per transaction. I have to give a backstory here. Blockchains aren't designed to store any data. That's why most of the major ones have some special fee requirements for storing data on them, which makes it few magnitude more expensive than normal transfer transactions. After looking closer into the transaction, we can see it's the same hash that we have at the beginning CP32, so I think most of you already got the idea about notarizing documents on the blockchain. To present it, I will log into my MetaMask wallet, which is Ethereum wallet, and I'll send the payload of the hash to my address to notarize the document in the Ethereum blockchain. I am choosing fairly high fees to show you the outputs, and here we go, transaction is sent and I have notarized this file manually on the Ethereum blockchain. I can go to the Block Explorer and see the validity of it. Now, more complicated concept, how to search transaction in blockchain. Usually those notarization engines have an additional tool to search the blockchain of choice. They usually have complementary databases to write all the OP return codes in Bitcoin or input data in Ethereum. In Bitcoin it's easy, not more than 100,000 transactions with OP return to save, but on Ethereum input data isn't usually for notarization, but also to initiate smart contract functions. So database for Ethereum would be huge. Now let's look at some improvements to this system. Major step forwards were made by Factom, which is original blockchain, once pretty popular but recently put into shadows by some overhyped coins. In Factom you could use factoids, the native currency, to buy entry credits, some sort of gas to record your own entry. Those entries usually consist the hash transaction. Every few minutes, Factom servers are pulling this data into block and anchoring it on the Bitcoin blockchain to assure that all the data is valid and secured on the high hash power blockchain, that means Bitcoin. Factom is also operating with the side chains and has special chains for special purposes. On the screen I'm showing what one of the cryptocurrency gurus and YouTuber knows about Factom. So for some, getting the idea of notarizing notarized data isn't that easy to grasp, but from now on you guys will be smarter than old good Tom, the guru. But it's not the Factom I want to focus on right now. NEM apostille, developed by Jeff McDonald and first implemented in NEM wallet, Nano wallet, on one hand can do one-time timestamp process like all the other system I was speaking about earlier, but also it can be used to update the notarization, change its ownership, or add more value like tokens to it. To picture it better, I will play Jeff, the creator of the system, picturing its use case.
Now we are using a new kind of technology called the blockchain, and if you can imagine on the blockchain what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a certificate. Now kind of imagine this bag as the certificate, okay? It is a digital certificate, it is a digital contract. What I'm going to stick in this piece of, in this bag, in this certificate, is information. What information? I can stick in this bag any kind of information that I want to. I can write it down, the serial number, where the product was made, who made it, okay? I will take all that information and I will stick it in the certificate. So now people that want to see in the certificate can see. Then my company LuxTag will come in and LuxTag will sign the certificate. LuxTag will put their stamp on the certificate to prove that the certificate is real. But it doesn't just have to be us. It can be another organization, it can be the government, it can be a third-party standards organization. They also can stamp the certificate. Now let's say I'm going to buy something, for instance, maybe like a Rolex watch. And when Rolex company makes the watch, they're going to put all the information in the certificate. The certificate will go to the store. When the store gets the watch, they will also get the certificate. Now, when the store is selling the watch to me, I will buy the watch and the store will digitally transfer to me the certificate. And then I can take something like my name, my email, my phone number if I want, and I can stick it in the certificate. Now the beautiful thing about this certificate, just like this bag, it can be open so anybody can see inside, or it can be closed. And our digital certificates can be the same way. We can make it so anybody can read the information or not read the information.
To start, we have two types of apostille, public and private. Public is like any other system on the blockchain. That means you can send hash of the file in open, readable text form, in hexadecimal of course, to the blockchain. It's trivial and I won't be focusing on that. What's more interesting is the private apostille. Jeff was presenting the idea of stashing pieces of paper in some kind of bag. Imagine this bag to be a multi-signature account. Multi-signature account is a pre-existing account. That means it has to be created as a normal account and converted into a multi-sig. After doing so, multi-sig account private key is no longer valid. As we speak, it's nullified. So having access to its private key, we can't execute any, let me put emphasis on it, any type of transaction. Instead of the idea of private key, we have the cosigners of multi-signature contract. You can have up to 32 cosigners and M out of N control. But it's not as important as apostille uses only one of one system. Now, the single cosigner have full control over the multi-sig account and can send notarization transactions out of it, can rehash the file if change occurs, or just post some small updates. Multi-signature account can also receive tokens with special meaning or just some value like loyalty points. I would go into more details, but I promise to have an easy to understand video this time. So more technical information and some more development stuff I will present in the next video. Apostille standard isn't native only to NEM, even that it was born on NEM. Technically, every blockchain with multi-signature transactions and messaging could use it under the license. That's why the ecosystem of the apps using this standard is rising, and there are companies and startups implementing it in their tools. You can use the apostille in NEM wallet, Nano wallet. Also, there is a community project Open Apostille in which you can post your notarized file publicly. Also, there are two projects, one in infancy, Copyright Bank, and second with many use cases already, called LuxTech, that are incorporating apostille. I asked Rene, the creator of LuxTech, about his opinion about apostille. Let's hear it.
The LuxTech SDK and library are built on the NEM apostille. We are using it on both the permissioned and on the public NEM blockchain to certify authenticity of products and, for example, of university diplomas or artwork like paintings. Just to mention, these distinct features of apostille or LuxTag cannot be found with any other notarization services out there.
So we can see this standard have already wide usage, and with steady and uninterrupted development by passionate people, I feel it will make some noise in the cryptocurrency sphere. As the saying, slow and steady wins the race, many services on top of Bitcoin that were sprouting after 2014 now are either not supported or totally defunct, contrary to apostille. There are more projects and adoption every month. That was all for now. Subscribe if you are interested in more materials. I will be posting new videos every week. Last month I was moving, so that's why there was lack of videos, but coming back there are projects I have to put out and give them some attention. Also, I would like to thank Rene and Jeff for giving me some information about LuxTech and apostille in general. Crypto Believer for always being able to answer some of my questions, and for my girlfriend to be very patient with me recording those videos. If you dislike this video, smash this dislike button and vice versa. I am Tony. This was a notarization on the blockchain video, and I will see you next time.